Hello everyone, and a very happy Sunday to you. I'm just taking a little moment to jump on and say hi to everyone for the Sunday catch-up this week. Just been at the gym. This week is a non-Rosa week. She's at her mum's this week, and so I've just been actually not gigging for the first time in ages. It's not been loads of gigs. It's been being at home and working on other things, working on the Patreon, working on building that. I'm actually wanting to build like a songwriter's social media academy to help songwriters with their social media. It's crazy when you look at the business degrees cost like, 30 grand a year or whatever. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be cool if I could create something for 15 quid a month where people could kind of learn all about social media, and not a perfect system, but just a system I've kind of used to help me grow 250,000 followers across 12 months. So yeah, that's my plan. I'm gonna build that. I just sort of started that tier today, and I'm starting to let people know about that. And I've been at home. One of my really good friends had their 40th birthday last night, and so we all got suited and booted and went out for that. Had a great time, dancing and whatnot, and Kaylee and eating pakoras, so that was a real good time. Yeah, this week, as I say, is the first week for a long time where I've not been gigging, which has been feeling really good. I'm kind of thinking more and more about building things so that I don't have to gig as much, just because Rosa is wee right now, and I want to be around for that as much as I can be. And so my plan is to build the coaching practice, build the online side of things, doing more online gigs. And I'm really enjoying that. It's like, it feels really, really good to be able to reach the whole world just on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, and build a following like that, have the world kind of come to me, and also show people the things I love about being here in Edinburgh. It's such a beautiful city, and I'm excited about sharing that more with people. So that's what I've been up to. The main theme for me this week has actually been what it's like to be someone who comes from trauma, who comes from an abusive background. I came from an abusive and traumatic background, my upbringing. In many ways, there was a lot of things that were good about it, and there was a lot of things that were not good about it. But ultimately, I find myself as a man who has come from that kind of background, and there's certain consequences of that. My brain functions in a certain way, my nervous system functions in a certain way. Those of you who have been through trauma and abuse, and I don't mean like having a boyfriend or a girlfriend that dumped you or you didn't get on with them. I mean like actual abuse, like physical or otherwise, as a child, when you're not capable of looking after yourself. That's just set me up in life in a certain way, and what it means is that no matter how much work I do, and I've done years and years of therapy, always just have my nervous system will always be primed in a certain way. And what I can choose about that is I can choose how I respond. I can choose how I look after myself. And really my journey has been one of learning how to love myself, learning how to really protect myself, becoming the person who I needed when I was a little kid. And that's really my path, has been, creating a peaceful home, creating a stable life and a stable income, and giving Rosa the things which I didn't have, giving myself the stability and the peace that I didn't have, and that's a beautiful journey. But it also is it's hard won. Like, I've won every single bit of my success. I've won every single bit of my peace and stability, and at times it's cost me certain relationships. It's cost me certain opportunities. I've had to say no to certain opportunities that I think could have been quote unquote good for me, but just might have knocked my stability, might have knocked my mental capacity in a certain way. And I can only grow so much, and at some point we all have to accept the limitations that we're given in life, right? And I don't mean that in the sense that you can't have an amazingly big life and you can't have a fantastic life, because I know that I can, and my life in some ways is testament to that. But I think what I'm learning is just there's peace and acceptance in the fact that when you come from certain kinds of abusive, traumatic backgrounds, you have to accept on some level that your nervous system functions differently. And so this week I've really been thinking about that. I've been thinking about protecting my peace, but I've also been thinking about being an example. That's massively important to me, because I think many of us who come from traumatic backgrounds, abusive backgrounds, feel like we're never going to have a great life, and I just want to say, as someone who has, that you really can. If that's you and you're watching and listening, you really can have a great life. You know, you're never going to have an easy life. You're never going to have a perfect life, as if there is such a thing. But you know, your particular, the quality of your life is always going to be, on some level, just a bit harder, I think. But that's okay. You know, you can still have a real good life, a real meaningful life. There's a great book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, who he was an inmate at Auschwitz, and obviously through that subjected to just the worst imaginable kinds of awful experiences and just terrible things. But the whole book, Man's Search for Meaning, is about meaning, the power of meaning, and the meaning that we give to things can either make our life fulfilling or unbearable. It depends. And so, you know, my journey's really been one of just years and years of therapy. It took me 13 years of therapy to start to understand myself and start to understand my own pain and my own suffering, and to make sense of it. And it took me a battle with addiction, and they say all addiction is a replacement for connection. That was my story for a long time. I used certain addictions to substance, certain addictions to certain kinds of relationships or spending or whatever as a way of avoiding how I was feeling. And it's taken me a lot of therapy. And I would just say, if you are someone who's come from abuse and trauma, and you want to live a great life, I think having your mind reflected back to you and getting help with that to understand that can be super transformative. I would thoroughly recommend it. That's kind of been the theme for me this week, honestly. There's not a big lesson in it. There's not a big point to it. There's not a big final conclusion to it, but it's just, that's where I'm at. I've been at home. I've been thinking about that. I've been processing, learning and growing, and so I thought I'd share my thoughts this week. And if you want to, hi doggy. If you want to support me in my Patreon, you can do that. The lowest tier is £1.50 a month, and you can join me in there. I'm putting exclusive content in there, and as I say, I'm starting this social media academy where I put more stuff about how you can grow your social media for your business or your art on there too. And if you want to support me creating content like this, support me creating the live content that I create, then it'd be great to have you in there. So click the link in the description, click the link in my bio, and check out my £1 a month club. Obviously check out all my albums as well. Appreciate you guys, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.